Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday Tune-In. I am Nikkola of Nikkola and this is a weekly show that gives you the opportunity to tune in with yourself and really to use the stories and the insights and the tidbits that I'm sharing to tune back in with that inner wisdom that we all have that is always accessible to us. So this week, I want to talk to you about self-sabotage. And the reason that this topic is coming up today, this week, is because I have been dealing with a lot of self-sabotage. And I want to share with you how I came out the other side of that. So let's dive in together. If you're live, please drop in a comment. And let's start by opening our hearts a little bit, so we can allow some of that, internal exploration. So, what is self-sabotage? There's a couple of different ways that we talk about this commonly, and one of those is around resistance. So when we feel resistance coming up to, taking the next step or doing the thing that we said we're going to do. Also comfort zone. The comfort zone is a place where we're not growing because it's comfortable. And ultimately, self-sabotage is about fear. And I want to give you some examples of how this might play out. So, for example, have you ever had an experience where you've just made a commitment to maybe join the gym? Okay, so you're about to stretch yourself, you're about to go do something different, you've decided, I finally want to get on top of my exercise, and you start at the gym and maybe you're there for a couple of days, and then suddenly, out of nowhere it seems, you get an injury. And then you're like, oh, well, I can't go now, I have to wait for this to heal, and then you fall off the bandwagon and somehow the gym membership continues to get paid and you're not going into that place. Or another example, you have a really tremendous win at work. Maybe you've won a contract or you've got a promotion or something really positive. And then straight after that, you have a big argument with somebody in the office, and for 2 weeks you hate going in there and you feel awful. These are examples of self-sabotage. So a couple of dictionary meanings for sabotage are to intentionally prevent the success of a plan or an action, and to deliberately destroy, damage, or obstruct something. The example the way that I'm talking about self-sabotage here today is when we are growing ourselves, we're taking a positive leap in some direction, or beautiful things come into our life, we sabotage that. We prevent that, we attack ourselves and the good things that are going on. And it seems ironic, really, doesn't it? Because why would we not want great things to happen in our life? We come to understand after reflecting internally that we believe that there's a limit to how much we deserve and how much success and positive things, are really accessible for us. And, this is not just on us. This is a product of our upbringing, our society, all the things that we have come to learn, especially in Australia. We've got certainly a very strong culture of battling together. So there's a whole range of reasons, and I think last video or the one before, I talked more about self-worth and where these things come from. So importantly, self-sabotage is a way that we bring ourselves down, we prevent ourselves from growing, and something good happens and somehow something bad happens straight after that to stop it from continuing. So what does it feel like? As I mentioned, it comes out in different ways for different people. Often if you are, I know people that this comes out in anger and frustration and causing an argument. Things could be going along fine in your relationship or in your family, and next thing you're having a screaming match with somebody. So it could come out of you in that kind of way. For me, it's the opposite. It's a retreat, and it's very similar to the way shame feels, and these two things are definitely caught up. They're very interrelated. So for me, that's a sense of wanting to get away from the feelings. So like just exactly the way shame starts, like in the stomach, like physically, that's where I would feel it. And then it would come up over my shoulders and kind of take hold. And it feels like quite a thick blanket. And if you imagine yourself as a fish in a goldfish in a fishbowl that is about to take a leap, about to stretch, grow, explore. We don't have to talk about the fact that a goldfish would die if it came out of the bowl. That's not part of the analogy. It's as if a heavy blanket or a lid has been put on top of that bowl. That's what self-sabotage feels like. So it's heavy on the shoulders. And again, it manifests in so many different ways for different people, but once we can get a sense of what that feels like and when that's starting to happen, it gives us a window in to then do something about it as we notice it. So what is the impact? What is the impact of self-sabotage on our life? So I mentioned how it could cause some blow-ups, it could cause some distractions, some setbacks. But if you think about the magnitude of your whole life, self-sabotage has the potential to make you play small until the day you die. Whew! All of the brilliant, wonderful, magical potential in you could stay in you as a result of self-sabotage, right? So dealing with this, recognizing this, finding some ways out is so important. If we want to live a full, beautiful, abundant, big life, which, by the way, you absolutely deserve, we all deserve that. That is our birthright. Then it's up to us to decide to do something about self-sabotage. And you know, there's so many different ways we talk about self-sabotage, self-worth, limiting beliefs. At the end of the day, it's your choice. It's all a choice. What's at stake is how big and beautiful your life can be. So, given that, let's talk about some of the ways that you can come out of an attack of self-sabotage. And Karen and I talked about this on the video last week. If this is happening to me, I've got to a point where I know that that's going on. So I'll say to Karen or to Kirsty or someone, you know, I'm in SS, I'm having self-sabotage right now and I don't really want to come out. So instantly it feels doable, like there's space around it because I know what's going on and I'm not going to go down a hole that I can't come out of, right? Anyway, I'm going to go back. So the reality is self-sabotage or feelings of resistance, of coming down from positive growth, trying to hold you back, are not going to go away. This is part of our human nature. And as much as this is a difficult thing, it's also the same thing that allows us to have beautiful intelligence and intuition. Like, this is the human existence. This is what makes our lives so rich and colorful, and the ability to have such beautiful experiences comes with the ability to, you know, struggle with our sense of self-worth and what we deserve. So reality is these things are not going to go away. These are fears that are always going to be there. And, you know, I've had lots of people, beautiful people say this, fear doesn't go away either. And we want fear. We actually want these negative feelings because they can be a guide for us to work out where to go next, or what we want to spend time on, or, you know, where we want to release something next. So it's not going away, but there are certain things we can do to move away from it and to not let it limit our lives in the ways that I said before. So for me, I've done a lot of self-healing work. So I worked with a coach on this, and it is very significant work and it takes a lot of practice. Some people might be using inner child work in this way. So that's quite deep healing work. It could be meditation, and that takes practice. It's like a muscle that you grow. And so now when this happens and I'm ready to come out of the self-sabotage, I'm able to turn to those techniques. So before that, if that's not something that you're ready for yet, or you haven't ventured into, there's some wonderful stuff you can do to help yourself just edge out of those moments of darkness and heaviness. And I actually came across this beautiful quote this morning, which seems really super relevant. So it says, smile into your heart. This could prove to be the single most powerful act you can make to assist in self-healing. I love that so much. Smile into your heart. So start there. Start by taking a tiny, just little adjustment into what you're saying, what you're feeling to yourself. Smile into your heart feels really light and lovely to me. So in order to do that, you need to notice, you need to allow what's going on. And I really, what's important here, I think, is not to ignore the feelings. We kind of get that concept when feelings are ignored or trapped or bottled up, it's not good. It's like drinking poison and, I don't know where that analogy is going. We want to let the feelings out. And something that worked really well for me on the weekend when I was having an attack of this self-sabotage was to allow those feelings and to look them dead in the eye. Look at those feelings. What are they? Where do they feel in your body? Because then you're allowing them to flow through and out, right? I think repression is always going to end in prolonged negative feelings. So one, notice that you're self-sabotaging. If it occurs to you, God, it's so weird that I'm feeling so crappy after something really positive just happened. And for me, just as an aside, the positive things that are happening are I'm taking huge leaps in my life. So I'm really getting courageous, and that's what's causing the self-sabotage. So whether it's something you're about to do, a shift you're changing, a shift you're making, or something really great has happened and then a negative thing happens, just catch yourself like, maybe I'm self-sabotaging here. And once you have noticed it, allow those feelings, and as soon as you do that, it's like a pinpoint move, you put space around them. You are not those feelings. You are not shame. You are not doubt. You are not anger. You are separate to those feelings. Your essence is not those feelings. So as soon as you can recognize them, look them in the eye, you put space around it. Beautiful, tiny little pinpoint move. So you don't have to have all the answers for yourself at that point. You don't need to work out where those feelings came from and how you're going to fix yourself, but you can do some tiny things to keep going on that trajectory to get yourself out of the depths. So something that really works for me quite well, and lots of other people I know have shared this with me, is music. So I have a playlist called Moments, specifically for when these kinds of things happen and I lose my motivation and my sense of self and I start to really doubt. I listen to Beyonce and the Spice Girls and I don't know, like hardcore R&B, whatever it is that works for you to shift your energy. We know music is so healing. It can just do something to lift you up. Perfect music as an option, and to arrange that in advance. Know that these things are going to happen. Organize it in advance. The other thing you could do is, and again, this requires some forethought as well, is to play. So when you think about yourself as a child, what did you love doing? Maybe it was coloring in or singing or making food in the kitchen, whatever it is, do that. You don't have to think about it. Like if you look at a child and see the way they are so beautifully led by what gives them joy, just go and do that. Grab some paper and start drawing. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to understand it or get to the bottom of it. Just do the thing. And similarly, you can message or call, you might not be able to do that. Just send a message to a trusted person. Importantly, they have to be trusted. And say, I'm not feeling good today. I think I might be self-sabotaging. You don't have to have the answers for me, but I'm just letting you know. And it's like as soon as we bridge that gap between, it's like us, like we're all alone in our self-sabotage, our shame cave, and then we bring another person in. Just like it's like a little lifeline when we send that message. We don't have to solve, we don't have to understand everything right in that moment. But as soon as we do reach out to another person, it's as if we're not alone anymore. So again, tiny needlepoint move. And underneath it all, know that you are always within reach of your life raft. There is a river of peace and love, always flowing, always flowing through you. It is literally always there. It might be a trickle. If you're feeling really underneath it all, it might just be a very small little stream, but it is available to you at any time. So whatever you can do, whatever works for you, again, this has to be adapted to your lifestyle and your preferences and the things that you like. Anything you can do to connect back into that river is what you need to do. Just know that it is always, always there for you. You are never lost and you are never alone. If this message, if any of this stuff about self-sabotage resonates with you or your friends, please please share this video. We are on a huge journey in life and experiencing it all the adventures, all the ups and downs, and it's so much better when we do it together. So bring your people in on this journey with you. And if you are a visual learner, you like to dive into things through reading, there's going to be a blog coming with this week, and whatever it is for you, that any one thing that you can get out of any of this message that gives you a lift and helps you take a tiny leap in the direction of loving yourself the way you deeply deserve, I hope you take it. That's all for today. I will tune in with you next week, and I love you. Thanks.